It says ministerial appointment, first nominees out. Right. Ministerial appointment, first nominees out. Managing editor, seasoned senior journalist. Is that the best from the media? Do you consider this as the best that you have come from the media?
We could do more, but as I said the last time I was here, that's the price we pay for a plural media. So a plural media allows all sorts of interpretations and all sorts of approaches and speculations. We could do better by going in depth, and even if we do speculations, they should be based on intelligent guesses, based on certain facts we know about the individuals and about the president's intentions. But that's what I'm not seeing in the media. I just see gossip. In fact, this morning someone called me to say on Ghana Web or whatever they call it, and some networks, there's speculation that either myself or Komla Jumo are being considered as head of communications in the Mahama government. I don't know. So it's some of these unguarded rumors being peddled there that I find a little unfortunate. That does not mean the president may not offer any citizen what he wants, but find out and make an honest and intellectual
analysis of them. Yes, Mr. Aruna Attah, we are looking at a situation. I know that the president has a right to nominate or appoint ministers, but the media has a responsibility as well to go behind and find out the values and ideals that these individuals represent. Would we be wrong if we really had to go behind the president nominations and investigate and come out much more with concrete factual details about the values and ideals these individuals represent?
Absolutely. I think we should do that. From the count someone gave me, the president will probably have to appoint close to 5,000 people, from service chiefs to ministers to district chief executives to board members to certain commissions, nominations here and there. So he has a lot to do, and so it's our duty also, like you are saying, to go behind his intentions. If you ask me to analyze what he's done so far, I would think the Mahama administration is presenting to us a face of moderation. I look at someone like Aruna Attah's nomination as a brilliant one, because I know her. She's cool, she's level-headed, and for the office she's got, she's very erudite, and we need erudition in the foreign ministry. And her body language is a very moderate body language. Then I can move on to Nana Lita, whose appointment I approve 110%, because she's been very effective in gender and other advocacy roles, and now the ministry has been slightly redesignated for her, and she may bring to the ministry a certain vitality that it has lacked. She's an advocate for human rights, so you see that appointment as also given a certain slant to the Mahama administration, that it would be very tough on human rights issues, especially issues dealing with children, gender, and other social interventions. So I look at that one, and then I can go on and then mention the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation.
Sure.
I think for me that's brilliant, because for any economy to move, you need innovation. People talk about growth of an economy, economic development, but it all depends on innovation. I think that's one ministry where I will put my peswa on. If that innovation side of things can be played up, then we'll bring young people, creative people into the system. We would see a certain movement. And I also see the nominations so far as a fairly, if not young, but not an old mix of people, which again shows what probably the president intends to do, that he intends to make much younger people take decisive roles. He has not yet appointed the deputy ministers. We would have to wait and see who would come on board as deputy ministers. Ayarga's, for me, nomination to the Ministry of Information, it's an interesting one, but I would want to see him not as a so-called spokesman dashing from one TV station, radio station to the other, being a propagandist. The Ministry of Information should be tooled as an institution using information for development. So that means this young minister would have to think out of the box. He would have to mold that ministry into a new entity.
A new entity to give us give the direction. Yes, I am interested in the way you went about the ministry that is for environment, science, technology, and innovation. Now, if you look at the person named in there, Dr. Joe Oteng Eche, right? If we're looking at innovation, if we look at individuals, have you even seen the media coming out to see the new direction, the new addition?
Yeah.
Has he somebody? Nobody has even given us any information about him. If he is even innovation oriented or innovation positive or innovation negative.
I agree with you. You see, we are too much in a hurry to bring up names, to find faults with them, and to cut them down, and to again unnecessarily politicize things. I don't know of a better word to use in this instance. So the media, depending on our motives, want to see negativities instead of the positivities. Yes. Because like I was talking about the innovation, I think the media, we should push that because that is in the interest of the country. And I think even if young Ayarga goes to the Ministry of Information, if you ask me, I'm not his employer, I think he should even redesignate the Information Services Department into a Department of Social Animation, because that's what we need now, how to animate our society on so many fronts to move on the developmental path. Now, when you talk of the Information Services Department, for example, the only thing you think about is an old-fashioned civil service and moribund organization, which unfortunately it seems to have become. So we would have to mold that institution together with the National Commission on Civic Education to build up what I term the social animation value to governance. What is social animation? Social animation is anything you put out there to get your people thinking, doing the right thing. You were talking of transport safety.
Yeah.
I was waiting to hear from Mr. Attah what they intend to use the media for, how to animate us socially. Because if there's no social animation in all of these things, it will come to naught. So I would see, for example, Mr. Ayarga working on that aspect, not just muffing the propaganda things of government, but there's a lot to be done out there
for a country to benefit. The next important ministry is the one that they have now designed as gender, children, and social protection. Sometimes you consider that, do we really understand what the ministry is supposed to do? And then looking at the personality that they have been named, Nano Yelitha, noted for the past, talking about where we have seen at mental homes, people chain those they consider with mental difficulties, chaining them. I know all the time talking, let's free them. And the values of even where we talk about gays and lesbians, she stated her position. Values and ideas clearly noted. Do you see as looking, media, do you see as clearly looking out for identifying us and placing us in the right shade that people can say that this is what we can expect from him if he or she wins the position?
So far, we haven't done that. I'm afraid to say that some of us have rather concentrated on what I'll call the mischief. Because before even the president did his first batch of nominations, it was all over the place that Mrs. Betemo Idrisu was going to the foreign ministry. And if you ask me, I thought it was mischievous because Mrs. Idrisu had the problem, or she's still hamstrung by this so-called Wyoming issue. It's still hanging there. Of course, she's denied it. Nobody has claimed she's guilty of anything, but she's hamstrung by it. But then it's put out by sections of the media that she was to go to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Immediately, it started creating certain negativities for the president when he hadn't done that, when he hadn't said it. So you are absolutely right. We would have to be more circumspect in our guesses, because so far it's a guessing game, it's a speculative game. Even the designation of the ministries or redesignation of the ministries I was talking about could be subject for serious discussion. And analysis, instead of even just the individuals. Because it used to be women's and children's affairs. But now it's actually been widened and, to me, given bigger and wider responsibilities. Gender is big. Gender is not just women, children's, and then social social protection. Social protection is very big. I need social protection.
I need social protection.
So these are some of the things we should look at. But like I'm saying, the 12 appointments so far, I think, are pointing towards a moderate government. I cannot see any rabid radicalism. We would have a period of moderation from these names that have come out.
And so now, if I should ask you, managing editor, from today on, as the names start coming, as the names are out there, and Parliament will sit down and start vetting, what type of stories do you want to see?
I would expect us to be concentrated more on some of these issues we are talking about. What does this appointment mean? What does this redesignation mean? And then what is the overall trend we are seeing of this government? Because it's not a power play, it's a play for service. These people are being nominated to serve us, not to lord it over us. So we should be able to see what kind of service they will give us. And if you ask me personally, the president has spoken a lot of all-inclusiveness in the next batch of appointments. And as I'm told, there are close to 5,000 appointments to make, how he will bring in other Ghanaians that may not be necessarily members of his party. We should look for such developments as...
But with your experience, is it very easy to achieve that? Here we have political structures. We know we run a political system where winner takes all. Will it be very easy? Will the president not be punished if he really wants to do this open door situation, all inclusive, all embracing, and will he not be punished? What do you know?
Every president or leader has a manifest destiny, and he determines how that manifest destiny is. You don't have to follow the crowd. Once you have a vision and your mind is set on moving ahead. Look, Ghanaians are a very we like cooperation and understanding. If you should bring other people on board, I bet Ghanaians would applaud it. If there's any punishment at all, you are talking of inner core party people.
That is exactly, because look at the Finder. The Finder, the front page of the Finder. NDC foot soldiers cry out for bigger stake in Mahama's government. NDC foot soldiers.
Well, I don't know the veracity of that story, so really I can't comment on it, because a lot of these headlines are just done to sell newspapers. So, but let's assume that maybe he has his source, or the editor has his source, and what he's putting out is right. NDC foot soldiers, whoever are they. This term itself, foot soldiers, has been questioned all the time, that that it's a kind of anachronism that even the media should start dropping. There is no foot soldier anywhere. All of us Ghanaians, the moment a government comes to power, we are all foot soldiers to the government, to the party. So the mindset of the media should be away from these categorizations, which is just simply meant to divide us more, either intra-party wise or inter-party wise. As far as I'm concerned, every Ghanaian is a foot soldier for the government in power, because the moment the government is elected and sworn in, is the sovereign government of the Republic of Ghana. Foot soldiers don't come in. If you ask me, I don't even want to.
You don't know, right? And so now you see, I am asking these critical questions. Anytime I find you, get you on my set, I know it's going to be. I know it has always been very intellectually stimulating, because you give the candid opinion and candid objectivities around it. See, we are looking at the media, the role of a healthy journalist in moving the country 2013 to 2016. Have you seen that dynamic role of the media in directing this course?
Well, I still have to repeat what I said the last time and partially this morning. It's the price you pay for a plural media. Our constitution is very clear in chapter 12, I think it is. It's clear. It says there shall be no censorship in Ghana. So, well, depending on the editorial policy of the newspaper, they can decide to go this or that way. But if you ask me professionally, I'll prefer now for us to rise above the grit and dirt of the past and now start looking at things from a certain national perspective. If you ask me, I don't think that is happening.
That is not happening.
Yeah.
Well, it has been very brilliant with you
Thank
on
you.
the set, Aruna Attah.
Thank you.
I've been talking to Mr. Aruna Attah, managing editor, Accra Mail. We're looking at the role of the media so far and the appointments as given by the president. And it is very clear that we've not been able to analyze, even give the data, the real situations around the individuals that are going in there. All that you can see the headlines to first batch out, second batch out, 12 names. Then you see pictures and that kind of. We are not seeing the real writings or what the values and ideals they stand for, that we can see that this person is fit for here, or this person would rather serve the country better in this area.